Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Poetry Mentor Read a Friend's Heart podcast. I'd like to welcome you wherever you may be and hope you're having a pleasant day. Pull up a chair and let's talk about poetry and the spring equinox, which is today, the very first day of spring. Winter is finally over. I was in a class earlier this morning, and the news was greeted with spontaneous wild applause and cheers, even though it's still overcast, but it's at least 60 degrees here in Akron, Ohio. The vernal equinox is an opportunity for all of us to get a fresh start, to put away the trials of winter as best we can, and to launch ourselves into a new reality. That is, of course, easier said than done. Poetry helps us get there, however. I'm going to read a couple of poems to you that are rather new, and I'll have more to say about them when I finish. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. I also have a split lip. I had 3 stitches in my lip put in last week from playing basketball, sorry to say. Not playing basketball, but splitting my lip. It turns out it's a very bad place to get a nasty cut. Anyway, this poem is called Publishing Genius, and it's a poem about missing each other. It's a poem about expectations not being met, confusion. Well, let the poem speak for itself. The last time he did his laundry, wash and rinse cycles both, he read a poetry manuscript, Love and Cruelty, by a poet he'd never heard of. He intended to read the first poem or two and finish later, but the poems wouldn't let go of him. These are different, he muttered, and read again, forgetting the close, the next thing, and the next. He read, reread, and emailed the author to say how much he admired the poems. Because he chose some titles for a small press, he asked if she had a manuscript available. 2 were at contests, she said, but you may read them. He read them, commented, and asked again to publish her book. The poet suggested a FaceTime call, which lasted 2 hours or so. They talked about many things, but mostly about poetry, grieving, loss, and trauma. The talking continued in emails, she worrying that a comment he made was flirtatious, he apologizing and assuring her that he was just a friend, editor, publisher. Her next email, Arctic Cool, informed him that she was going to submit to contests for the time being. She thanked him for reading and commenting and wished him luck with the press. Days passed until he wrote to her again. I thought we were developing a professional relationship and friendship, poet to poet. She said she'd thought so too, but then he'd crossed several barriers. You shouldn't have talked to me like that, she said. You shouldn't have talked about my poems like that. Don't contact me again. Blinded from reading, he was wounded in spirit. And if you wonder what happened, well, so does he. Sometimes our expectations are not met. Sometimes intentions are confused and become something other than they were meant to be. And that's sad. That is sad. It's a sadness opportunity lost, um, an inability to rise beyond uh, that kind of confrontation, which is, of course, subtle and quiet, but very final nonetheless. When we come to disagreements like that, in any time in our lives, we run the risk of inflicting permanent injury on ourselves. If we don't make amends, we make bitter memory. Making amends is always better. So I would counsel make amends if you can. Reach out and make better what has gone off the rails. Given what's going on in the world now, and as this is the vernal equinox, I'm going to read another poem, and this is called Woozy on War, Warriors Petition the Divine. Men tired of war ask the divine a simple favor. Turn us into women. Turn us into plants or fish or animals, lower to the ground. Smoke reddened and teared their eyes. Sound made ears bleed. Flesh took on a life of its own, skittering this way and that, booking passage, making plans to move away from bones. You cannot hide, said the divine. Yes, women are superior to men in many ways, but they love war too. I thought you knew. The animals you torture, test, hunt, and chew will never welcome you. Even if you could put your tails back on, they would spurn you. As for fish, plants, and their dirt, where do you think you came from? And where do you suppose you're heading? So much anxiety, such bad nerves. You are misshapen dolls, sticking yourselves with needles while you groan and grind teeth, while you clear-cut woods and frack hillsides, and throw plastic into the frothy sea. One climbed a rock, speaking for the rest. That's not encouraging. Will you give us hope? Perhaps a new test? You're tired of war, the divine said. I'm tired of grading you. The killing will never be through. Enjoy your wars. It's what you do. A grim message, perhaps, but one I think we have to finally take to our hearts. If you look through history, do a scan every day, what's happening on this day, what's happening on that day, you'll be amazed at how many skirmishes and battles have been fought virtually on every day of the year. Yes, it gives an impression that we like war, men, women, all of us. We like war because we keep waging war. The only way to stop waging war is to stop thinking like warriors. We need to go inward, and we need to do it with a communal sense of responsibility. Simply say, no, I will not fight today. I will not swear at the driver who cuts me off in traffic. I will not get angry at the person at the grocery store who is not paying close enough attention to me. I will not blow up at the person in the hardware store who just can't seem to answer my question to my satisfaction. Give all of that up. Give up supporting conflict, and little by little, we may inch our way to a world, and it may be hundreds of years from now, where war is a disturbing thing of the past. I wish you well, and I hope that all of you enjoy this first day of spring as best you can and enjoy the spring itself. It is a season of renewal. The buds and the flowers are coming, and so are the poems. Thank you. Bless you.